From the swamp to the stars. Let's bring in our resident Timbit, little Timmy Senor in the UFO report.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
My friend, how you doing tonight? I mean, what a wild few days here in the UFO world. I mean, from criminals to government contracts to trying to sneak into the government to everything in between. Man, I'm worn out of UFOs, man. I'm worn out.
It has been a really busy week. I haven't stopped taking calls all week. It's been super busy, and we've had a lot of ups and downs, and our audience has been super supportive. And this was definitely an amazing week for podcasters, in just that we've really covered the news and been a part of it and been able to change for the better in lots of ways. So fantastic week. Yeah.
It really has. And I don't recall a week as controversial as this one. I really do not recall. And I'm glad some of it is over. I am glad that we're moving on. But breaking news today again. Breaking news today. I mean, when does this end, man?
Yeah. Well, hopefully it doesn't. Because,
True.
Let's ride this wave as long as we can and be happy that we have so much movement on this topic. But since you're so close to this one, I would love it if you would just kick off the UFO news for tonight, if you don't mind. Are you okay with that?
I'm very good with that. And I'm going to tell you, I almost did a full Dave 101 on this as a sidebar to this show, because this really upsets me. And I don't know why it grinds my gears, but Tim, Mufon just doesn't seem to get it. And next week, we're going to have Bob Spearing on from Mufon, and I'm going to ask him about this. Okay, but you have to remember there is a giant split between the MUFON board of directors and then the state directors and the people who actually conduct the investigations. And this is where it gets a little strange for me, because 50 plus years ago, when MUFON came out, okay, Project Blue Book was going on. There were a number of secret talks going on and people trying to learn about UFOs. And MUFON really started as a group for the people to try and be the watchdog for the people when it comes to UFOs and the experiences people were having. Fast forward 50-some years, and now they're trying to get into bed with the government. So I'm going to read this to you, Tim, and we're going to take some time on this. Okay? If you're looking for it, I put it out on our Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. This is the director's message. This is from David McDonald. And he goes, or it's titled, MUFON Faces an Interesting 2023. Well, folks, another year is in the books. It is true that time flies, and the older I get, the faster it flies. We saw some amazing advances this year. The CMS has undergone a major overhaul, as has MUFON University, and the overhaul is ongoing. Our research and investigation facilities have technologically advanced to the point that we are darn near at cutting edge. And this is where it gets a little controversial for me. One of the most exciting projects of the year is MUFON being recognized by the United States government as a leader in UFO/UAP investigations. In fact, it has been nominated to be the civilian component on the currently developing UAP panel. This nomination is totally bipartisan and has been introduced in both the House and Senate. It is over 100 signatures so far. Below is a copy of the letter of resolution from the Honorable Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, Department of Defense, All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, 1400 Defense Pentagon, Washington, D.C., 20301. Dear Dr. Kirkpatrick, we are writing to request that you give full consideration to the Mutual UFO Network to serve as a civilian component on the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Task Force. For 53 years, MUFON has gathered and investigated reports of UAP worldwide. No, they've investigated UFOs, not UAP, averaging 10,000 to 12,000 sightings per month. The organization uses scientists, photographers, and forensics experts to investigate each UAP and can prove that 92% of the events are explainable. Over the past few decades, they have had various contractual relationships with the DoD to provide information to the ATIP program regarding sightings of interest. Their network includes over 5,000 members, 650 trained investigators, and organizations in 48 countries. We understand that the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Task Force was established by an amendment to the 2021 NDAA sponsored by Senator Kristen Gillibrand. Under this amendment, the task force has the following duties: developing procedures to synchronize and standardize the collection, reporting, and analysis of incidents, developing processes and procedures to ensure that such incidents from each component of the department and each element of the intelligence community are reporting and incorporated in a centralized repository, establish procedures to require the timely and consistent reporting of such incidents, evaluating links between unidentified aerial phenomena and adversarial foreign governments, consulting with other departments and agencies of the federal government and partners of the United States, and preparing reports for Congress. We recommend that MUFON be selected as one of the non-state actors as they interact with multiple stakeholders worldwide and have a large database to share. In addition to this, MUFON was formally requested to provide monthly and quarterly statistical reports to selected departments, which reports will provide a clear insight into the scope of the UFO UAP phenomena. This is an incredible way to start the year, McDonald says. Thanks to every one of you and all of us at MUFON, wishing you a happiest of New Year's. See the problem here, Tim?
Oh, yeah.
MUFON has officially and publicly sold out.
Well, there's a lot of moving parts here, and I've made some notes before and during you reading this. And I'd love to just kind of hit you with some of my broad strokes here. So, right off the top, we have that MUFON is wanting to become the civilian component to Arrow. I'm wondering if this letter kind of that we have directly to Dr. Kirkpatrick was made first and we're getting in response their acceptance into it, or is this just per the request at this point? And also, it's is it because of its reports that it has already been requested to be making of the quarterly statistical reports? Is it because of those reports that now MUFON is feeling that it is obliged potentially to take on the civilian component? And is this also a public demonstration of a way to initiate funding from the government for its potential interaction?
This is what I've known from talking to a couple of MUFON members today who are literally looking at leaving the organization. Okay, and these are longtime members. They are upset. MUFON's mantra is to be the voice of the people, to be non-governmental, to be a group that overlooks everything the government is doing as a watchdog for this phenomena. But Dave McDonald, their executive director, who received the job, okay, after Jan Harzan was arrested for his antics that we're not going to get into. He's always wanted to be a part of the government process. That is not what MUFON is about. MUFON is supposed to be for the people. Why would you or anybody now give a report to MUFON knowing that your report that you have filed privately is going to get into the hands of the United States government? Now, there's a lot of people who will sit there and say MUFON sold out a long time ago, and we know they've tried to. They did with Robert Bigelow in 2007. Okay, we know when the To the Stars Academy came out, Jan Harzan was begging and pleading to get some recognition from the TTSA. It didn't work then, but now it's working. I think it's disgusting. MUFON has gone against the grain of everything that they stand for to play in the government puddle of UFOs. They could have made, if they had a proper PR department that actually knew how the media works, they would have made a lot of news the last 5 years. But MUFON has always had a problem. Every time that they get in trouble with something, they sweep it under the rug. They have this attitude that if we don't talk about it, it never happened. The Jan Harzan incident, the John Ventry racism incident, selling files to Robert Bigelow, a private corporation, in exchange for money, which they never got all their money. And now this. I don't know why anybody would want to swim in MUFON's pool now. And I do know right now that there are a couple of states with very powerful people who are going to be reviewing their options. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'll say it out loud right now. The entire board of directors, if they supported this for MUFON, need to resign. And members of MUFON, and I know there are a number who listen to this show, you need to write a letter to MUFON's board of directors asking for their resignations. You've paid to be in MUFON. You've paid to be trained. You've paid to be an investigator or a state director. And this is what they just did to you. They threw your reports under the bus for government coffers, government money, and a government position of recognition. It is an ugly, ugly day for people as members of MUFON. And I don't know how they recover from this. I really don't, Tim. And once again, full-fledged, I have never been a part of MUFON. I did speak at their conference last year in Denver, Colorado, where you and I met face-to-face for the first time. Then we went to Vegas. Right?
Indeed. Yeah.
But I think this is an absolute disgusting day for MUFON. This is not a day that they should be proud of. They just screwed 50-some years of research to get into bed with the government agencies. Your thoughts?
Yeah. And so I have two questions I would love to fire directly back at you. So I personally had a great MUFON experience, and I feel like the people that are involved are amazing. Now, it may be a broken mechanism, and that is a different story that we are talking about right now. But I must say that the people that are involved in the organization independently and individually, outstanding individuals, and personally helped me and my family cope and figure out how to deal with our UFO sighting. Now that's just on a personal note, and I won't get back into that. But MUFON was part of advising the committee for the public hearings. Is that correct?
That I don't know.
Okay, I had heard that they were asked to advise for the public hearings in 2021. And if you are against the idea of MUFON in particular being a civilian component to Arrow, Do you feel that there's an organization out there that has been well established potentially that could be a better representative for a civilian component, an intergoer between Arrow and the public?
Mufon. The problem is, okay, and I have troubles understanding this, and I've had people in Mufon try to explain this to me. The board of directors has really nothing to do with the state directors and what their investigators do. They just collect the evidence. But Dave McDonald, their executive director, has wanted to be one of the UFO big boys for a long time and has always felt that MUFON has been misdirected, misguided in regards to their role with the U.S. government. That's not your job, to be a part of the U.S. government. Your job is to take care of the people who have these reports. It's like I never agreed, and I've argued with people with MUFON. I've never agreed that they have a star team that keeps reports quiet. If you are getting information from the public, okay, your job is to make sure that that public knows what is going on. You're not supposed to be hiding things. Doesn't matter whether you filed a report or not. MUFON has made a great difference within this community, but they sold out. And that's all on the shoulders of Dave McDonald, who has been an ego tripper about this very publicly within the in the MUFON community over the last number of years. And this is what he wants. It isn't what the membership wants. The membership now has to find their will in their way. I was talking to one person today about it right before showtime. And that person was telling me that they may quit over this. They may pack it in, wondering what was their hard work for if it's all going to the U.S. government, who's going to give us, Tim, zero.
Right. And isn't this also kind of along the lines of a case or a story we're going to be covering later tonight? But isn't this the same thing that Enigma Labs has come out recently since December and said they also want to do?
And we're going to get into more MUFON and more of the Enigma Labs when we return on Spaced Out Radio. Little Timmy Senor and the UFO Report continues on the Mighty SOR right after this. Stay tuned. We're clear. Give me 2 seconds here, Tim. I find it funny that Enigma Labs erased everything off their Twitter yesterday that they posted. Way to go, Alejandro. That's up front. UFO Ho 420, welcome to SOR Chat again. Obi Flet, thank you, man, for that great super chat. O-B flat. You're awfully quiet there, Timbit. Hey, Super Lou, wearing his cape while eating stew. That's all I got, Lou. That's all I got.
Yeah, buddy. How's things going up there in the Great White North?
Need some snow.
Really?
Need some snow.
Is it warm?
No, we keep getting this stupid crosswind that, goes like right through your jacket. I hate that wind, by the way. But it's been sunny. Sunny, cloudy, sunny, cloudy, sunny, cloudy, and no snow. I figure we need about another 3 feet of snow to make sure that we don't get hit with the forest fires this year.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to build up a bunch of fluid to put that out. That's for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is very sure.
And you guys have a bunch of reservoirs up there?
Oh, dude, in an hour's drive, if you put a circle around my area, an hour's drive around, there's about 500 lakes.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Hey, Parker, how are you? Strip that sweater, Dave. Ooh-wee. There you go. Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Hey, I'm loving the swag on your website, by the way.
Hey, where's Random Guy?
Oh, right.
Random Guy.
Say his name.
Here, hold on. We'll call Random Guy. Random Guy.
Uh-oh. What can we call him? Tap a cocktail glass.
He's probably out on the town painting the town red.
Indeed.
Random Guy red.
It is Friday, so that feels right.
Gloria, how are you? I stopped in at Gloria's show the other day just to say hello. We'll be getting into Enigma here in a second. Sweet Louie Pie. You remember Warrant's song? He's my Louie Pie. Puts a smile on your face, 10 miles wide. Stash is so good, makes a grown man cry. Sweet Louie Pie. Oh, come on. That was freaking brilliant. That was freaking brilliant.
Everything you do is magic.
All right, here we go. 4 seconds.
All right.
Round and third, we're headed for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Very much appreciated. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram, Spaced Out Radio Show. And Tim, are you coming down to San Francisco with me for UFO Con 2023?
I'm going to try. Yeah, I'm going to try and be your sidekick.
I am the MC there. Great speakers going on. Go get your tickets. Hit up Lori and Fenton at UFOCon2023.com, March 17th through 19th. Old Davey will be there, so would love to see you there as well. All right, right before the break, we were getting into MUFON, how they have sold out to the government. Well, the board of directors has. The state directors and the people who do the real awesome work have not. And I'm just going to reiterate this. I really think the state directors have to call an emergency meeting. I know some states have already called emergency meetings in regards to this letter that Dave McDonald put out. And I really hope that those states get together and they have a very serious talk about the actions of their board of directors. And look, one thing I want to say is MUFON does great work. I think they do. And you have to separate the board of directors who run the business side from the people who are actually boots on the ground doing the research. Okay, just like I said last half hour. You have to be able to separate the two. And what the MUFON board did, led by Executive Director Dave McDonald, was literally took all their statistics and basically said, here, U.S. government, here, military, here, Enigma, take them all. Take them all. They're all for you. You want names, phone numbers, emails, underwear size, it's all right there. It's all right there. And once again, the people with boots on the ground are getting screwed. So my advice to anybody, any state director listening to this, gather your states around and have an emergency meeting and then ask for the board's resignation over this. Stick up for the people. MUFON is the only group that has the ability, if they wanted, to stick up for the people, the public. And I know people are not going to agree with me. I don't care. I already know people in MUFON who are agreeing with me. That's how I got this opinion. Let's move on to Enigma. What do you got new, Tim?
Well, it's mostly the connection to the topic that you were just talking about there with MUFON wanting to come out and become the civilian component for Arrow. Because recently in the news, it looks like Enigma Labs, a global platform for unidentified aerospace and undersea phenomenon sightings, is now accepting submissions for members of the aviation community, including general aviation pilots, flight instructors, students, military aviators, and others. And so, according to the officials with Enigma Labs, an independent, by the way, private technology company that is for profit, by the way, not a non-profit, a for-profit company, building an empirical, reliable network of UFO sightings to support aviators and researchers, investigate efforts and aviation safety, having been hindered by a lack of coordination and access to quality information. And so, with the reports being submitted through their website, you are being asked to potentially keep yourself anonymous. And so, a lot of the reports, although they'll be made part of this system, there would be potentially the anonymity factor still involved with these reported sightings. And so, with now this new push for this independent company to come out and, potentially represent the general aviation community with all of their UFO sightings and obviously for sale information, making themselves available to the government and Arrow. And I'm wondering, does this send up red flags for you as well, knowing some of the people that are working within this company, and in particular, perhaps their PR guy just really dropping the ball, getting the real purpose and direction of what this company is all about out there?
You know what? As I stated last night with Louis Borges on the show, all right, the fact that they are trying to remain anonymous on absolutely everything is not good for ufology. And there are rumors flying around left, right, and center on what is going on. Now, if the rumor is true that Peter Thiel is the one backing this financially, he has the money to do it. This is a guy who helped co-create PayPal. He was one of the earliest and first investors into Facebook. If you Google him, he's worth between $4 and $8 billion. He's got the money to do this. The project of Enigma does not bother me, or whatever their goals are. What does bother me is that they are trying to snip people from our field, get them to sign NDAs, and then not allow them to speak that they are actually a part of Enigma. And the funny part about this is this. Yesterday, they stirred up a bunch of controversy on their Twitter account. Well, it's all been erased. It's all been erased off their Twitter account, where they were saying, we don't work with government. We don't work for anybody. We are independent. And in the next sentence says, we are now working with Aero and NASA. And Enigma is also speaking at a conference that NASA is putting on privately, with the branches of the military being there, Avi Loeb being there, Galileo being represented, and Enigma. Who's a part of Enigma? The only ones we really know are what we learned off of LinkedIn. Alejandro Rojas is their marketing and content director. Now, people will know him from the International UFO Conference, or whatever it stands for, one that I will never be invited to, nor do I care. Okay, this is a gentleman who claims to be a journalist, but he's never worked in journalism. He is also claiming that he is doing that the SCU, Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies, and Enigma are working together, which my sources within the board of SCU have said, no, we are not working together. So that's it.
Yeah.
Right. Why erase the tweet, Tim? Why erase the tweets?
Yeah, that is highly suspicious. You wouldn't if there was nothing to hide, obviously. But the fact remains that it's one of those things that we absolutely need to have at some point, some civilian component and some kind of public oversight within the Aero. And the dialogue needs to, at some point, include how the public is going to get information on what is being done on the topic. Because at this point, we're only getting secondhand information and, occasional news stories and breaks. Now, I am very suspicious of any new company that wants to collaborate with the government on, public information, because especially as you've highlighted it, a lot of those cases are anonymous. Now, I don't know how they validate anything when it's anonymous. Now, I don't know if it's anonymous to the researchers or to the public, or if it's just to everyone. But again, that'll be, something to look into more. But my investigation on their website is that there's very limited access without the pay for play aspect. And so we'll see further as we dig into it.
Louis Borges brought up a good point last night on this show. And what he said was, people don't trust companies. They don't trust organizations. They trust the people within the organization who are representing the organization. All right? You go to a car lot. If you don't like your salesperson, you're not going to like the product. Then what do? You go to the next lot and you find something that interests you there, or you find another salesperson. For them trying to keep their staff hidden and silent makes zero sense. Removing tweets just because people are questioning things does not make sense. Okay? I've been chatting through the show. People have been seeing me through the show looking at my phone. I've been chatting with with a couple of reporters out there, real journalists, not self-titled ones, who we've been talking about Enigma tonight. And I've been asking them point blank, are you involved? No, we're not getting involved. We are not getting involved. Too many questions. Don't even know who's involved. There's no need for this secrecy unless they are going against their public persona and actually signing contracts with the government. No need to hide. None whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hate seeing the money grab when it comes to public information, witness accounts, people's pain and suffering potentially, and definitely that is kind of what it's looking like here from both Mufon and Enigma Labs now. And so that, right off the bat sends off many red flags, as it should,
Absolutely.
so you're absolutely 100% right.
You can't trust people who are not identifying themselves. Like we found out on Twitter that Ben Hansen, from television fame, the former FBI agent, will be working with Mufon. Okay? I'm sure he got a pretty penny. Because some of the numbers that I'm hearing that are being thrown around, and I will not give up my sources on this, are pretty incredible. That the majority of us would take that contract if you didn't have scruples. But the secrecy of everything, the removal of tweets, I mean, hey, if they removed that because of what we said on the air last night, where we went through everything word by word and how it looked like a grade 9 student wrote what was on their website, so be it.
Yeah.
So be it. And by the way, one of the things that Alejandro Rojas, who is a part of Enigma, very publicly right now, stated on his own Twitter account was that he didn't want to, something along the lines of he didn't want to feed the trolls. Okay? Well, when I looked down the list of who was questioning on the first tweets, there was Stephen Greenstreet, love him or hate him. There was myself and a few others. Calling Mr. Journalist, okay, you're a journalist because you say you are, calling journalists trolls because you don't agree with their line of questioning is not very journalistic. It does not have much journalistic integrity to put down another journalist. And if you have a problem with that said journalist, you pick up the phone and you call them out. And you talk to them. That is the role of a PR person if he actually knew how to do the job of a PR person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there is obviously a fair amount of money that is predictably going to be available to a real group that comes out with information that could be used in some way, in a positive way, to enlighten Arrow. And it seems like there's all these groups coming out of the woodwork hoping to bid for this in their own way, whether it be in writing or coming out publicly with a brand new website that is so shiny but lacking any information whatsoever from Enigma Labs, or any of the other independent companies that are coming out hoping to claim that they are independent and can come up with legitimate research. I mean, obviously, we're seeing some of the recent companies that we even covered earlier this week erasing their tracks. And so at least at this point, the numbers are going to dwindle down to the real
But if
players.
you noticed him, everything is going into secret mode. Okay?
And why do you think that is? Too many skeletons in the closet.
I was talking to Nicole Sackich before the show. Okay, and she brought up a good point. This is exactly, and I'm not familiar with the Condon report. I apologize. I should be. Okay, but this is apparently exactly what happened right before the Condon report was released a number of years ago.
Yeah. But couldn't a lot of people argue that that report was to kill people, to kill the truth and send people off into the wrong direction? Potentially. I'm just thinking that why these companies would go into silent mode is telling me that they're wanting to remain in a position that the government would still find them attractive. That Arrow would be like, well, they're still working quietly enough and the public doesn't care about them enough, that we could work with them. But again, I also feel that they potentially have skeletons in their closet. And if the likes of someone that likes to dig looks too deeply, they may not survive the airing, if you will, of their closet, and wouldn't make it possibly to the coffers of the government and get in on the money grab that is the new UAP topic, not UFO, but UAP. UAP is a cash grab. UFO is real.
Absolutely. Brilliantly put. Brilliantly put. Okay, as we got about 4 minutes to go here. If Enigma Labs didn't have anything to hide, they would be going at it a much different way. Look, if they have, let's say Peter Thiel threw millions of dollars at this to set it up. You want to keep that quiet? Fine, because it's a private corporation. You're allowed to keep that quiet. You're allowed to keep your board of directors quiet. But why not announce who your investigators are? You are asking the public to trust you with some of their most personal information on what they've experienced, much like Mufon. And all you're doing is turning it over to the government.
Right.
That's all you're doing.
Right. Well, let's consider for a fact that this is a fairly new company. In fact, if you go to their very scant but beautiful website, you'll see that they're looking for very crucial roles within their company still, and probably don't have a lot of members.
Who has the roles now?
Nobody.
Outside of Alejandro Rojas, who has the roles now?
Well, I know
because we don't know.
They're looking for a chief information security officer, community manager, the DevOps personnel. The lead data scientist is an available position.
Yeah, we went over this. We went over
that
that
is
last
scary
night.
Information to know that they don't have any of these roles fulfilled. That tells me that they're looking for funding before fulfillment.
What roles do they have filled now?
Yeah, we don't know.
Okay, you could go on LinkedIn and you can find a list. Okay, you can find a list of who works for them. And that list, there's only one person from our ufology there. That is Alejandro Rojas. Okay?
Yeah.
That's it. There is a list of about 9-10 people there. Okay? They're gathering the data. They're going to scrub the data for the government. That's what they want to do. Even though they're saying that we're not in cahoots with the government, but we're in cahoots with the government. Okay? And I'll show you the tweet. Let me go to my Twitter handle here for a second, if I can find it here. It's from, let's see. Where is it here? Here it is. The tweet read yesterday, "We are excited to collaborate with groups like Arrow and NASA to improve UAP reporting and scientific research. We have always been and continue to be private and independent with no government or big tech affiliations. But they're working with Arrow and NASA."
Yeah. So many problems with that statement.
And by the way, that tweet has been erased. Their terms and conditions that was put out on Twitter yesterday was erased. It's not a real good way to start business.
Red flags.
If you're going to be erasing tweets because you're afraid of people breaking it down and real journalists breaking it down.
Yeah. It's going to be choppy. It'll be interesting to see though where it lands, because at this point, we don't know enough. I would like to see something positive come, because we do need something like this, but we need the transparency. We need the public access. And I don't like the fact that you have to pay for membership before you can get full access to cases. That's frustrating.
Yeah, and Mufon does it for free.
But even so, even with Mufon, there's only a layer you can get to. When you become a member, then you have full access.
True. Tim, very, very interesting UFO report tonight.
It's been a fun week.
Been a very, very fun week.
It's
Appreciate
been
you, my
muddy.
man.
Yeah.
Appreciate Swamp Dweller coming on in and chatting with us with another spooky story, and very much appreciate author W.T. Watson coming on in, talking Monsters of Canada. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight, YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Space Travelers Club, Spreaker, LinkedIn, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.